Hi everyone. So for my analysis of online tools, I have Wix.com, the website editor, and Schoology. So I wanted to start off with Wix. I do personally use this for multiple sites, and this past year I actually used it for my actual classroom. I used it as a portal to really have students or parents or even other teachers or administration check out my actual curriculum. So right now I'm actually just showing you the homepage that you could use for your own website. It's just like Weebly, or if your school has an online website that you can update your own information. Now I actually went ahead and used it as a blog. So that was one thing that was brought up, is how you could use blogs. Now, I was very new to the idea, so I really only have the first day of school came to my mind over the summer with a project that I did, and then when I was teaching summer school. So since I was in the process of changing schools at the end of August, I haven't really updated my new school. But it's somewhere that you can have parents or students come and they can actually look at your lessons. It could also be used outside of the sense of how I used it, for students to come and access lessons that you need them to be working on. So they could come to your homepage, they could respond to a blog, they could go into, instead of this drop down being curriculum, or even if it did say curriculum, they could come into their proper thing, they could go into whatever lesson we're on at the time, and they could do the activity with any kind of directions that would be there. So I'm going to get outside of, that was the preview of my website. So this is basically what it looks like when you are editing it. There's a lot of different things that you can add. Like I said, I was still messing around with it as a classroom tool, so I was doing the basics of like an intro to me. So one of the things that they could go to was to learn about me, as a teacher, who I am, how they could connect, how they could get in touch with me. In this case, if it was online, maybe my number or home email or whatever email I'd be using. And then right here, of course, they have a space to actually email you right off the site. So it's very simple. They don't have to go to their own email on a website or something. As long as they have an email, they could go ahead and do it. So there was a few things I wanted to point out on here, and they are the add-ons. So you can see here there's a long list of things that you can add, and they're all particularly useful for this sense of an online class. You could add images, so you can actually have visuals, and being an art teacher, this is extremely important. You could add a gallery of different pictures that may be relating to a lesson, or after the project is done, I could have student work put up. Can add a slideshow, which would be maybe the lesson. I could record myself and add a video, but I could also add the slideshow so students could go back and review the content themselves. Maybe if I went too fast, or if they want to go back through the slideshow themselves without me speaking. You could also add any kind of music to the background. You can add your social media, so you could go ahead and add anything specific if you wanted to connect it with an outside social media like a Twitter or something that they're in charge of being in contact with. Another additive is the blog. So like I said, I was starting out with the blog, but I actually learned a little bit new going through into this. If you go down to the blog, you can connect it with a Facebook. And let's see, any other related apps that you may be using. And of course, if you're unsure of anything that may be going on, you can go to the little info, and it'll tell you what you can add and how it would work. And then of course there's an online store hookup if you would need kids to purchase anything, but I think this is more like an online if you're running your own business. So the Wix website is great because you're in charge of your own website. However, there's a lot of drawbacks. There's no live chat, so there's no way to have a synchronous classroom. Everything would have to be step by step, that they would have to go through and do the lesson themselves. And you would have to be updating and staying on top of it, which I find to be the hardest thing. personally because I'm so anal. You move one thing and it ruins everything that I had planned. So you just have to stay on top of it. So that's Wix. Could be used almost like a book, I want to say. Could be an online book. They could go in, they could go to the place they need to go, get their lesson, do the lesson, watch the video, connect to another website, post to the Twitter, post to a blog, or however you want to connect it, but that's as good as it is. Schoology, on the other hand, I am very enthusiastic about, simply because it is user-friendly as far as it looks exactly like Facebook. When I pulled it up, my husband went, does Facebook know that they're pretty much stealing the exact same format? Are they ripping Facebook off? Sounds kind of true, but it's easy for me to use, having grown up when Facebook was coming around, and our students today pretty much all have Facebook. So first of all, you open it up, it does look like Facebook. You have your feed, so anything that's going on, and in this case, these are other teachers since we used it at my last school for just the teachers, but the students do have a Schoology also, so they were also using it to hand in assignments, to make sure that they have events. You can name the assignment, give a description, max points, and where you want to post it to. Now, I've never given an assignment, so I'm not fully sure what all this entails, but I did want to show you an example because me, as the orientation program, had to do something in particular. So, for example, as a teacher, I needed to take this class, the On the Road to Mastery. So if I was a student, I would go up to my courses, go to math, science, art, in this case art or whatever it would be for me. You'd go to the class. Well, here is an outline of everything that you could have. You can, from behind the scenes, you could turn any of these on and off at the time and only open them when they're readily available, or the dates for them to be open, kind of like our online class now through Millersville. So let's say I'm the student. Okay, I need to start with part 1. So I open this up. I go to the first folder. I need to go into the introduction. I would click it. On the road. Okay, here is Dr. Bud Reed. He's going to give me a video. If I was the teacher, I could be doing a lesson. I could go ahead and go through the content that needs to be gone through. There's sound, there's video. Once you're done, you click next. You can read the article. Still not convinced. So you would do all the things that you need to do, click next. So it would be like step by step for students to just keep going through what needs to get done until they finish. If I go to my actual page, so that would be, a lesson, something that you could go through a lesson. If I go to my home page, this would be what my students see. They could learn a little bit about me. As much as you want your students to know. Your updates, again, just like a wall on Facebook, but this would be great for conversation. So students can all come in, they can add what they want to a topic. So, many moons ago, I posted this video. If this was something important to the lesson, the students can come onto my page. And again, just like we do with our Millersville class now, I'm expecting you to add a comment and then comment to 2 other people. They could come on here and keep this asynchronous classroom going on. You can start a blog. And the other thing that's kind of cool about here are the badges. So in this case, I was acting like a student because it was part of the orientation program, but you can assign like little stars, giveaways to your students as they finish something. So it's another way to kind of have a classroom management when you're not there in a class. You could add little, pats on the back for what students are working on at the time. Again, there are a few drawbacks. There is no live chat in this one either. However, like I showed, they have course videos thrown into the mix of whatever the lesson entails, so you can keep clicking through, and you could break up those videos. So I could make a 3-minute video, a 10-minute video, and a 5-minute video and place them where they need to be along that lesson. The other thing I did want to point out was I started to do some research. Very cool that this Schoology was started by 4 college students. They felt it was very important, and they wanted to take education to the next step in technology. Their values were kind of aligned to like what we're talking about. There's no success without collaboration. So they surrounded the entire Schoology around how could they get all students to collaborate, which I thought was pretty interesting. So that was just looking into the about Schoology, since my school went ahead and was a part of, they got everyone a Schoology. This was free for me, and I'm assuming after I did some research that it would be free for any teacher to sign up, because it does ask you when you do go to sign up if you're a teacher or a student or even a parent. So just going down the list, both Schoology and the Wix website, you can easily share resources. You can bookmark certain pages. There's a visual list. The brainstorming, this would be better off for me because they can come in and they can comment on whatever topic you may be posting or add to the discussion. Both have an opportunity for blogging. Both have the opportunity to reflect on the blog or, future comings of the lesson. There is no live chat in either of these things, which kind of, it's not as, I wish there was a space for it, because after doing the online classroom for the last module, it was great to be able to stay on the same page as the kids as they were going along. There is a place for discussion forum. There is the ability to turn in projects. And I'm going to feel really rusty on this, but there is a place, because I have not used it with my students, but there is a place that they can upload into like a folder. It might be in portfolios, but I don't have any. There is a place that they can upload their documents. So kind of like we have a place to drop our projects when we're done, our papers on the Millersville D2L. Same thing here. They would be able to write a paper and they'd be able to drop it in. There's places for online slideshows in both of these places. You can connect it to your own web page. You could connect it to any kind of wiki. There's definitely places for media sharing and other types of video or audio videos or sound bites or whatever may be. So these are the two that I went ahead and analyzed. Obviously, I think one is better for the online classroom, and that would be Schoology. While the Wix website, like I said, is more like a book. There's no real major moving pieces. There's really nowhere to submit other than if you would go have them email you to stay in contact, because there's really no live blog going on. So those are my two analyses. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.